Good morning. My name is César Altez. I'm Superintendent of Procurement and Contracting for Hudbay Company, Peru. And on this occasion, we're going to review our procurement and contracting plan that we have as a company. Hudbay is a company with a long mining tradition and with more than 90 years experience. We have discovered, built, developed, operated, closed successfully 26 mines throughout this time. We operate in the American continent. We have around 100,000 hectares for exploration in Chile, 150,000 in Peru, some option agreements, and the Constanza mine. In the United States, we have the Rosemont project in Arizona, explorations in Nevada and Arizona. In Manitoba, we have two mines in operation and a development project as well as numerous concessions. The Constancia mining unit, we're showing a panoramic view of our concentrator plant. We can see the SAG mills, the ball mills, flotation cells, hydrocyclone batteries, a 7-meter diameter thickener, etc. Some interesting figures are that 25% of our workers are from the Cusco province in Peru, and more than three-fourths of them are from the Chumbivilcas region where the Constancia mine operates. We have it up until 2036, and we are located in the middle of the Chumbivilcas Cusco corridor at 4,200 meters over sea level. What is being shown is the location for the Constancia mining unit. It is found in the districts of Chamaca, Belilla, and Diribitaca in the Chumbivilcas region in the department of Cusco. As I said previously, we are in the middle of the mining corridor, and we are between 4,000 and 4,200 meters over sea level. We have a lifetime to 26 years and an estimated production of 82,000 tons of fine copper concentrate. It is an open pit operation, and our commercial production started in 2015. Constancia, throughout the years, it is a low cost and long life mine in Peru. In 1980, it was performed by explorations were performed by Mitsui and Katanga, and in 2003, explorations moved over to Rio Tinto with 70% and Mitsui with 30%. In 2005, Norsemont begins negotiating with Rio Tinto. In 2007, Norsemont completes acquisition by purchasing Mitsui's share. In 2008, Norsemont acquires Constancia entirely. In 2011, Hudbay Peru acquires the Constancia project. Then we come to 2012 with the approval of financing for 1.7 billion for the Constancia project. In 2014, the mine was finished construction. In 2015, the Constancia mine begins commercial production and maritime shipments. In 2018, happens the acquisition of other properties such as Caballito, Maria Reina, and Cusiarco, which are nearby projects to the Constancia mining unit. In 2019 begins the process of digitalization of our operations, and in 2021 begins operations of the satellite deposit Pampacancha. We are efficient, responsible, and sustainable on environmental aspects. We have a tailings dam rated A in Peru, the progressive closure of vegetation plan at Constancia, and we have ISO 14,001 certification. On social matters since 2012, we have executed more than 90 social agreements with local governments and communities in Peru, and we are focused on multi-stakeholder approach to development, where Hudbay and other stakeholders support sustainable development of Chumbivilcas. On health and safety aspects, we have a culture of safety. Constancia has the best safety record among the copper Peruvian mines in Peru, and we are aligned to OSHA's standard, migrating to ISO 45001 standard. Procurement and contracting. The area of procurement and contracts is responsible for acquisition of goods and services required by the company for our mining operation in Constancia and our exploration projects as well. For a better approach to our internal customer, our area has three working teams. The team for mine and logistics, which tends to the mine operation, drilling and blasting, mine maintenance of giant uh, drills, dump trucks, also including TMF and WRF. We tend to logistics teams with services for concentrate transportation, cargo transportation, as well as fuel supply. Another team works with the areas for plant and risk management. Under plant, we tend to plant maintenance services, electrical, mechanical, and instrumental. We are tasked in supplying grinding and flotation equipment, as well as the chemicals laboratory. For risk management, we have services for comprehensive safety, health services, emergency response, waste management and disposal. And the other team is the support team, which tends to all support areas, the main ones being administration of the camp with hotel and food services, personnel or staff transportation. For the explorations area, we tend to, with services such as drilling, safety, environmental studies, and all support services that are necessary for operations, for explorations. Likewise, we tend to other areas in the company, such as information technology, the legal area, the institutional relations area, and other support areas. Prior to COVID-19, what did we have as an area? Planning of procurement and contracts with a horizon of 18 months, aimed at long-term biddings as well. We had the execution of the contingency plan to avoid breakages of the plan. We had meetings for negotiation and coordination. We were in the process of simplifying paperwork via digital documentation, and we had applied home office for one day per week for the staff in Lima. And meetings we were performing via remote conferencing between the Lima and the local offices. We also had indicators by segmented processes according to contracting modes and times of attention according to ranges. During the COVID state of emergency, we had new challenges as internal customers or with our internal customers and suppliers. As procurement and contracting, we had to perform containment of costs, greater communication with suppliers. We implemented and promoted compliance to new protocols and new regulations according to sanitary needs. We have a work that is focused on prevention and safety. This is focused on COVID issues. We had thermographic cameras, quick tests, quarantine at hotels. All of those acquisitions were under our purview. We had to deal a lot with the high volatility of prices and to support ourselves on our network of contacts. For our suppliers, They had to adapt to the new scenarios. We have renegotiated some of our contracts and we had new ways for negotiating. All of this has made it so that our quotations and bidding are now performed online. We now have digital approvals, and for our meetings to be remote or virtual. It is timely to mention that since January of 2020, all areas are now working or taking prior steps to what an emergency state could be, or to avoid breaking stock or tending to services to our mining unit. The new normality. In 2020, we suffered a drop in the price of copper. There was an economic situation which required to review jointly with our suppliers all of the prices. We performed new strategies to reduce operation costs and sustainability costs, and among these strategies, we were tasked in ensuring agreements, maintaining prices, and perhaps to expand some current agreements. We have avoided somewhat going out to bid for services. We had a new way of working under sanitary standards, and rosters of staff were switched. Villas for staying overnight were implemented, or lodges for quarantine, and we reviewed new standards to be implemented in order to seek synergies and not to duplicate efforts that may impact on costs. During and after the state of emergency, we have expanded and negotiated contracts with main suppliers. It was always an intention to expand agreements for the following 2 years to ensure our operation, to obtain better costs, and to adapt to new standards. Always monitoring the development of the pandemic and possible impacts to international and local logistics. We restructured our procurement and contract plans, prioritizing negotiations with current suppliers. For the following 2 years, we aligned new terms for the beginning of bidding processes. This is due to the new negotiations that we were already maintaining. We had new considerations based on standards, regimes, and others. And as I said before, the contracting plan, which was previously for 18 months, we were now doing it to 24 months for the following bid processes. Our priority for acquisition are goods and services associated to health and specifically to COVID management, critical supplies for our operation to avoid breaking in stock. We did not break stock throughout the last 2 years. There have been no such events, and regular purchases now have a term of anticipation that is greater, preventing stockouts or transportation contingencies. What I'm going to tell you now is about the community company development plan that we have promoted in the last years, explaining a little on how it previously worked and what is our current focus, taken from a commercial perspective, from the acquisitions and contracting area. So, in our process, in the process that we had two lines. One line for the procurement and contracts area, and the other line was support for local procurement. The local procurement area is within the community relations team, and they are tasked in developing community companies. They provide us lists of providers for us to invite them. So whenever I had the need or a requirement as procurement and contracts, we began the process for this requirement. The next step was to search for bidders. And in seeking for bidders, what we did was first to search in our databases with our current suppliers. The next was going to the national market, and later going to references from the user. As an additional process, we communicated with local procurement to see whether there were local suppliers that may participate in the bidding. After this, we drafted a list of bidders. We began the bidding and quotation process, and we ended the process by awarding a purchase or a service order or a contract as corresponds. So, what opportunity have we seen? We believe that by including local suppliers within our process, but not as an option, but as a mandatory part, we would increase the acquisitions in neighboring communities. And so, as procurement and contracts, we wanted to establish steps, requirements, and criteria and the like within procurement and contracts processes with due support from the local procurement area. And in this manner, we would improve the inclusion of local bidders in our quotation and bidding processes. What I am explaining would not make much sense if only one area were to perform it. So we believe that there are four pillars in this project. On one hand, we have procurement and contracts, which we are tasked in executing this new perspective. And so what have we done is first to update procedures for goods acquisitions as well as awarding contracts. We promote local contracting with our teams as well for managers and procurement. They will determine an opportunity and invite local suppliers, and we create greater demand and requirements within the community. And so, for this approach to achieve results, we believe that there are four important pillars that must help each other in order to be able to develop local suppliers. On our part, as procurement and contracts, we have updated procedures for acquisitions as well as for awarding of contracts. We promote hiring of locals, we identify opportunities, and we invite local suppliers, and we create a local demand for a range of requirements. The area of local procurement, which is under the community relations team, should submit to us a master list of local contractors that are well identified with defined items and with support to new items if they are necessary. The communications channel should be a bit more a bit faster, more direct with community companies. There are assessments which are for health and occupational safety, environment, and communities, which are requirements for any company to work with us. And so this local procurement area, what they are doing is to help the community companies to pass these assessments so that they are able to become suppliers that are approved for bidding. And they are tasked also in recording or registering new suppliers. All of this we're doing also jointly with the user areas. The user areas now identify opportunities among their services or needs that they might have. They will plot these needs or opportunities among the terms of reference whenever they request a service to us, or in any renewal for a contract or service, they are seeking what opportunities there are for increasing local contracting. During contracts or services, they will award support in the execution and additional support if it is for the community to help them to know services and to improve their performance. They are committed to the goal. All of the company is driven to increase local procurement, and we have biannual meetings to identify opportunities. In these meetings, procurement plans are reviewed that I was telling that we have set for 2 years. On part of the local company, what we are looking for is for them to participate in competitive processes, for them to meet our requirements, our standards, deadlines, costs, penalties, and guarantees, and for communication to be faster, for them to be fast to contact, and for them to have a quick response, and for they themselves to seek opportunities for participation. We have contracts with communities which, throughout time, we have developed. The main ones that we have closed in the end of 2021 and beginning of 2022 is concentrate transport with two community companies. One is for the rural community of Oroya, who perform or execute 15% of concentrate transport, and the other one is the Uchucarco local company, who also have 15% share. This is an initial share, and we believe that in time and with their performance, it should increase. Their share should increase. We have another contractor which has started working with us since we began operations. They were awarded with the lifting services or hitching services. In the beginning, they worked with lifting at warehouses, but progressively they have begun lifting in other areas, and now they have the full service for warehouse as well as in mine maintenance. We must say that lifting services in mine maintenance are of high risk, and this contractor has developed to such level that they can now do it. We have another service, which is staff transportation. A community company performs all internal transportation and also external transportation during plant shutdowns or contingencies. With regards to leasing of light and heavy vehicles, as well as machinery, we try to cover 100% of contracting and subcontracting by locals since there's much offering in the communities. We have this established within processes and we issue them in all bidding processes as a requirement for awarding the services. The next steps that we have in 2020 is to increase the hiring of community companies. We have already had the previous steps in plotting the foundations for this project. We have built forms, procedures, we have modified schemas, we have performed training with our user areas and with the community relations area, and we believe that the following steps are to continue with this project, and we'll be increasing a lot local hiring or contracting. Due to volatility of prices and the international situation, we will want to keep operation costs as last year has been prices have been very variable as we know with fuel and everything it entails. It is our goal to maintain operational costs, continuing to hire companies with high standards in safety, health, environment, and sustainable development. Our communities, we have had no events that are considerable among our contracts, and to provide the greatest support to our explorations, which is an important aspect for us. That would be all. Thank you so much.